Thank you so much, everyone. You're amazing. Come on, make some noise. Okay, let's see. All right, coming up.
Are you feeling really flat with your life, really disappointed with your career, not feeling the joy, connection and happiness you'd hoped for? Well, I'm Joanne Faulkner. I'm a Shiatsu practitioner and a Qi Gong teacher, and I'm going to show you a point that will help open your heart and get your Qi, your energy, your life force moving again. So Shiatsu is like acupuncture but without needles, and we use powerful points on the body to flow the energy, sometimes either through trauma or injury or even hereditary conditions. We can get blockages that stop the energy moving. Also, we might be really low in energy, and then that means that also stagnation of energy occurs and we feel really flat. Okay, so let's get things moving. First of all, find the midline of your body and then draw a midline across your nipples, perhaps where they wear, could be, should be, maybe, but you get the general idea. What you'll do is you'll find the sternum and you'll find kind of like a hollow point there. That's CV17, conception vessel 17. Now, you are not a machine, you are a living organism, so it's not like you're pressing a button. What I want you to do is press into there, feel, connect with your own energy, connect with your own sense of self, breathe, and then release. Press, breathe, and release. Now what this point is really good for, it's really good for anxiety, and it's really good for when you're feeling really kind of a little bit flat and low. This kind of physically will help to relax the muscles across the chest so you can breathe easier. It's very good for regulating heartbeat, and also if you tap this point, an extra added benefit is that it helps boost T cell production, so it helps with your immune system. There's so many things in Shiatsu. I absolutely love it. I do love it, and I hope to introduce to all of you some more as well. Follow along for some more points.
That was beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, so welcome to one, everybody. Thank you. Woo! How are you doing?
Good.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. One more time, come on, show some love for Joanne, everyone. Amazing, amazing. First of all, Joanne, let's get to meet you. I know you've talked about yourself, your book, and the things you do in general. But what I am really looking for is for you to tell us what really inspires you to start this process in the first place.
Well, I just think it's really possible to feel the love of life. And that's what Qigong does for me, and that's what the Chinese medicine has done. I think really I wrote this book here, the Good Food, Better Sex book, because there's so much shame around sex, and sex isn't about having a physical act with somebody else. It's really about the energy of your body and your passion for life. We are all here because life loves to reproduce itself.
Yes.
But we need to reproduce at a basic level, at a cellular level. We need to know how to reproduce bone cells, blood cells, hair cells. And as we age, those cells don't reproduce as quickly and as well as they once did. But it's really possible, I think, really understanding Chinese medicine to really help the body keep reproducing at a cellular level so you don't age as quickly. You can stay mobile, you can stay flexible. I'm 55 and I really intend to stay doing Qigong until I'm 105.
Wow, come on. That is a very strong point. I like that. I like that faith you have in you. So, why the Chinese medicine? Why did you decide to want to use Chinese medicine in this format?
Because there really isn't any shame around energy and around this energy of reproduction. That was one of the things. So you can talk about symptoms and energy really clearly. And I also really like it that it's got an element system to it.
Yeah.
So each of the organs has a color, has a time of year, has a flavor. So for example, if somebody comes into my clinic and they're looking very yellow, I would then automatically say that's liver, because the liver's color in Chinese medicine, I won't go into the book now, but there's a yellow-green color.
Okay.
Whereas blue-black is the color for the kidney and the bladder. And so you often see people with blue-black circles under their eyes. So all the time the body is talking to us, and Chinese medicine just interprets the symptoms, and it gives me a really good framework to understand the body. So also it doesn't take your emotions out. So if you're feeling angry, really tense, that as well is the anger is linked to the liver. Whereas if you are going through kind of addictions and you can't satisfy yourself, and you're worried, overthinking, that's linked to the spleen, pancreas. So there is emotions. I make it sound quite complex, but it's actually really simple. So there's a time of year, there's a time of day, there's a color, and there's a flavor. And so I've been working in food since I was like 19.
Wow, that's a long time.
I went to, so I was 19 and I was working in a big kitchen for 800 people. So I had a real foundation in cooking. But then the Chinese medicine really made me understand that each of the organ responds to a certain flavor. So the liver is sour. So if you eat lemons and limes, this helps to clear the liver. Sweet flavor is for the spleen and the pancreas.
Okay.
If you eat too much of it, it can weaken that organ. And in Western medicine, we know that now the spleen pancreas produces insulin, which balances blood sugar. So even 2,000 years ago, there was a knowledge and understanding. So that all of these flavors, and the cookbook then that I wrote, is that it links each flavor. So the salty flavor would be for the kidney and the bladder. So you want lots of mineral-rich food. So you want walnuts, pecans, oats, barley, all lots and lots of minerals, lots of calcium, lots of magnesium. And these, they control the bones.
True.
And your kidneys, if you get very, very stressed, full of adrenaline, then you can actually weaken the bones. The bones become weaker. The calcium is leached out of the body. So there's a good link over between Western and Chinese medicine. It's just a different language.
What about the African ones? Have you not tried them?
What about them?
Yeah.
What African?
We have the African, we have this African herbal, medicine that they use. I'm not too familiar with it, but I know when you talk about the Chinese, the African do have their kind of way of, medication that you can take, that you don't need the actual English way, you know what I mean? So things like that,
There's Ayurveda, and Ayurveda is, if you like, the Indian equivalent of Chinese medicine.
True.
So each area of the world will have a different way of interpreting being well.
That's amazing. Come on, show some love for this. This is amazing. I mean, I respect you so much, because it takes a lot for someone to, go out of their way to study these things, and bring it to life, to help other people, So my question about what you're talking about is, when it comes to food aspect, when should we know, the level of food to eat and not to over, or just to have that level of food so that we're not going above our limits? When should we?
Well, you know that when your stomach starts to feel stretched, this is the time you need to stop.
Right.
Okay, so the spleen produces a hormone called ghrelin. And ghrelin is actually, will tell your brain, I've had enough to eat.
Yeah.
But often we don't chew our food enough. We don't take time. We might be watching the television while we're eating. We might be talking. So it's actually really to connect in with the body. So when you meet a friend, when you meet somebody for coffee, you ask them, how are you doing?
True.
How are you doing? So it's really to invite that question to yourself. How are you doing? How are you feeling? But also to give a good space to listen to the answer. Have I had enough? What's going on? Why can't I sleep? Or why am I eating so much? Or why am I craving salty crisps? Your body will tell you the answer, and the Chinese medicine gives me a framework to help people find that answer.
Wonderful. Because of time, let's talk about quickly on this, Shiatsu, and the art of, what's that?
Conscious cooking.
Yeah. So tell us about this book first.
Well, the conscious cooking is like, what do I want to eat today? And to understand, I'm craving something salty, so then my kidneys are talking to me. Or am I craving Sometimes I will say to people in the clinic, what is it that you want to eat a lot? If I would give you anything without consequence, and they might tell me it's ice cream. So if it's ice cream, then that's very creamy. It's lots of dairy, it's lots of sugar, and that will tell me that that's liver. It's very fatty. Whereas something that's very sweet, sort of chocolate, that if they're looking for the sugar, they're looking for a kind of, especially a bitter flavor. Often people don't look for the bitter, but that would tell me heart. If they are craving, if they say chips, and I'm like, well, what do you want with the chips? Do you want that comfort feeling, or do you want the vinegar, or do you want the salt? All of those flavors will then tell you, okay, what's going on with the body. If it's the salt, then it's the kidneys. If it's that comfort food, then that is the spleen. Spleen loves comfort, it loves satisfaction, loves chocolate.
True.
But too much of a good thing will then weaken the organs. The same as too much salt will cause the kidneys to contract. And that's not what we want to do. So we want to keep a balance. And how to find that balance is there's no better person than yourself to know. You can't go and ask somebody else what I need. Essentially, you have to also check in with yourself.
Absolutely.
And give yourself the time and space to listen to the answer.
Absolutely. Joanne, thank you so much for coming on the show. You really enlightened us about our health, and we believe that what you're talking about today is not just for younger people, it's for everybody. I believe so. Yeah, absolutely. So
everybody needs to eat.
Absolutely. So people out there, if you're looking at this book, please go out there and check it out. There's so much you can benefit from this. I know we can go on and on and on with this, and there's so much you can really get out of it, you know. So I want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. Come on, give it up one more time for Joanne, buddy. Thank you so much. It's a wonderful pleasure. All right, everybody, it's a Junior Question as always. Host Chris Owens right there. We're going to break, and when we come back, we have more guests on the show. Take it away. We'll be right back one more time.